Hi. We're going to be doing some Elden Ring lore. This video is going to be very rambly, and I'm not going to make too many actual points. I'm just going to be kind of going over a few little details. It's going to be like a bit of a lore salad. Um, so yeah, the first thing I want to talk about is Lacrima, the cat that is referenced in the Longtail Cat Talisman. Um, Obviously super disappointing that we never actually meet the character in the game. I instantly thought we would, but we don't. I was just another talking cat. It would have made sense, right? Like they've done it twice before, so yeah. Sadly, no talking cat in this game, but the item description is cool. Um, doesn't really give you too much. It just talks about Lacrima playing in the Belfry and that being like a popular fable in Leonia, which is cool, right? Like it's flavor in it. It builds the world up. Um, but I wanted to look into the name Lacrima because it sounds kind of cool and it's the only place we actually hear it, and it's not like. So I looked it up. Apparently, Lacrima is it can mean tears, and it's also a species of grape. So I don't know, that's kind of cool because like those are both things that are in the game, right? Like we have crystal tears, we have mimic tears, and silver tears or whatever. There's a few different things, and then there's grapes in the game, right? There's shabriri grapes, um, which are just eyes of crazy people. Uh, but yeah, like there's not much to fucking go on really. Like it's cool. It's cool though, right? Like it's just kind of cool, but it doesn't really. I don't know. There's not much sense that can be made of it. Why the cat is called Lacrima, or if the cat has any sort of relationship with any of these aforementioned things. But it's something, and I mean, I'm sure there's some significance to it. I don't know. Maybe it was a name. Maybe it was just a case of good old FromSoft naming musical chairs where they just like have this massive list of names and they just kind of change everyone's names throughout development and just see what sticks, see what sounds good. Because we know that was definitely the case in Bloodborne and probably other stuff. And yeah, we also know Miyazaki is like I think he called himself like he's like a nerd for names or something along those lines, something to that effect. Um, But it's kind of cool. I don't know. I'm kind of just throwing it out there in the hope someone else kind of picks it up and runs with it. Because I haven't seen too many people talking about Lacrima. Obviously, she's not a very talked about character. Um, but it kind of. Oh, yeah, and then also, while we're talking about Lacrima, we can talk about the Great Belfry. Just briefly, I thought it was kind of cool. Not many people talk about the Belfry. It's a pretty cool area. There are big what's the word reliefs of Elden John, the big beard guy holding the stone tablet. There are reliefs of him on the bell towers on the Great Belfry. So obviously from his time, and then also like look at the places where the belfry takes you, right? Like it takes you to Farum Azula, it takes you to one of the Eternal Cities, or like old ruins in the underground. I don't know if it's necessarily an Eternal City. It takes you to the old ruins, and then also takes you to Stormvale Castle, like which all three places are like extremely ancient in the world. So I definitely think it's 100% concrete evidence that these three places were at least had a relationship, right? Like they at least had some sort of friendly relationship. So it's kind of alluding to this era pre Erd Tree, pre Golden Order. Um, I don't know. Stormvale is still a massive mystery. It looks like there are some connections with Farum Azula and like dragons and Stormhawks, but at the same time, it's a there's not a lot of concrete evidence going on with that. But I definitely think that they were. It is confirmation they are all of like the same era in history, right? Um, and that's pretty much it. That's just yeah. It's cool and it's like a little bit of timeline evidence, I guess. And then I guess that kind of segues into the third thing I wanted to talk about, which was, so like, you know, it says like Lacrima is I can't remember it word for word, but it's like Lacrima is the fairy cat who appears in the Fables in Leonia. She's a popular character in Fables in Leonia, and it's like, you know, you think like, oh well, like who would be is that just like Leonian culture in general? Like this is like the Albinorics talking about it. It's like, no, well, like think about it, like where's the place that has a bunch of like babies and books, right? It's the Raya Lucaria Grand Library, right? We have all the juvenile scholars and Renala the mother, and we have a shitload of books, so, you know, and like Raya Lucaria has a pretty good view of the Belfry, so it all kind of makes sense. Like you can, I think it's fun to imagine Renala like reading the juvenile scholars these like bedtime stories and fables, and they just kind of like, you know, they're just like loving it in their little hanging cots, whatever. It's a fun thought. But on the juvenile scholars, just one thing I wanted to touch on was, you can see, it's kind of hard to see in the cutscene actually, but you can see on the model, I noticed it when I was watching Zolly's video on the scholars, where you can see like their pupils are, I can't remember the proper word for it, but they have two colors in their irises. So like it's like blue, and then on the outside there's like this yellow that's like creeping in from the outside. And like, I mean, yeah, like you can, I like to look at it like with each rebirth, it's like the golden egg is kind of influencing them more and more, kind of taking them out from kind of like this, you know, moon worship and night worship, all this sort of stuff, and bringing them, yeah, kind of like blinding them essentially. And like, I'm sure a lot of people have noticed, like, you know, like the Erd tree kind of blocks out a lot of the night sky in Leonia, but you can still see them if you're like looking in the right spots and at the right time of day. So I definitely think there's something going on there where it's like the Erd tree's gold is kind of like blinding the scholars and the Leonians and the Raya Lucarians, whatever, from their actual like belief system, like the actual things that they want to do. But then also when I was looking it up, so I was trying to get a good picture of the juvenile scholar's eyes, and one of the things that popped up pretty much immediately was this condition known as juvenile xanthogranuloma. Hopefully I've said that right. And it was basically just like small tumorous growths that can appear, I think, on on children. I'm not sure if it's, I don't know. I'm not a medical expert, but that's just what I saw. But they said when it can manifest inside your eyes, and when it does, it will change the color of your irises. So, like, it looks exactly the same in some cases. Sometimes it looks quite different. But there are some pictures that you'll find of juvenile xanthogranuloma, and it looks identical to the juvenile scholar's eyes. And it's like, yeah, you know, it's a pretty stupid connection to make between there. Like, it's just the word, right? But I don't know. It's one of those things in Elden Ring where you're just like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure that they, in their own little fucked up way, they knew that people would use this as a clue. But I just thought it was kind of cool because it's like tumors literally growing inside your eyes, right? So that's probably not going to be good for your sight. And it's like, if you're looking at it in the context of like, the egg is used to blind the scholars from their actual like pursuits, you know, like it all kind of, it makes sense in a weird fucked up way. Yeah, I don't know if there's much more I wanted to go on, so I'll probably just end the video now, and if I think of anything else, I'll put it in the comments. So yeah, bye!